Hello and welcome to the debate. I'm your host Rana Maqbool with you at PTV World. In today's show, we will be taking a look at some very important developments that took place today, especially with regards to what is happening at the political front with the kind of statements coming in from the PTI side. Of course, it's been an interesting year, the past year, and now, of course, we've seen that this one also kicked off with a lot of developments. Unfortunately, we've seen that there is still a lot of political instability as to what is going on. As of now, we know that the Punjab Assembly has been dissolved. The KPCM has also signed the summary for the dissolution of the KP Assembly. And then, of course, there is also the development that took place prior to that. That is what happened in the National Assembly, with the Speaker accepting 35 more resignations, 34 from the PTI, 1 from the Awami Muslim League. And of course, this is coming in the aftermath of the announcements made earlier by the PTI chairman and other PTI leaders as well, referring to PTI's return to the National Assembly and their prospects with regards to what sort of decisions or factors they will consider, especially in terms of the numbers, if they want to take up the issue of the ouster of the Prime Minister in a tit-for-tat move. Exactly what numbers do they need, especially when we talk about how the PTI dissident, Mr. Raja Riaz, is also there, and there is, of course, now the acceptance of these resignations. And then even despite that, whether or not this will be something that the PTI will be able to unfold. Of course, in terms of the caretaker setup, also something referred to by the PTI chairman is also the assumption perhaps that the elections are going to take place sometime in end of March or April. And that, of course, also remains to be seen as to whether or not that is going to take place. And if not, of course, what is going to be the future in terms of the assemblies in KP and Punjab. And also at the National Assembly. Of course, there's also the reference coming in from the PTI leaders that perhaps their moves included this in a sequential format, hinting towards the fact that after KP and Punjab, they're now going to move to the center. But whether or not that's something that is actually aligned with what they were stating earlier in terms of how, following the dissolution of the assemblies, they want of course, the elections at the center as well. Something that the current political setup has reiterated time and again, and still has not mentioned in terms of something that they can actually happen. But there is, of course, the aspect of how they were earlier mentioning the fact that until and unless PTI comes to the negotiating table, there will be no general elections. Whether this particular return to the National Assembly will change that, and how exactly will the PTI be able to do that, especially with the issue of the resignations, is something that we're going to be seeing. Simultaneously, we also saw the JOIF chief yesterday speaking at a press conference and talking about how there will be no elections in KP and Punjab, and he did not elaborate on the matter, but we'll talk more about what that means. In our first segment, this is what we're going to be focusing at. In our next one, we're going to be looking at the possible scenario with regards to a discounted deal coming in from Russia, with a delegation, an 80-member delegation arriving in Pakistan today and talking about the very important deal, especially the flagship $3 billion Pakistan stream gas pipeline project, which is, of course, extremely important with regards to Pakistan's LNG issues and, of course, the kind of economic situation that the country is going through. So whether or not we'll be able to get a deal, how soon can the money flow in, how soon can we get the petroleum products, and how useful they are going to be in terms of the kind of industries and refineries we have, are all issues that we're going to discuss in the next segment of the show today. For this and more, as always, in the studios, I've been joined by senior analyst Farooq Patafi. We've also been joined in our studios today by senior journalist Mr. Fareed Rais. Thank you very much, Mr. Fareed, for being a part of the show. And of course, with regards to the discussion on the current political dynamics, we will be exploring what the future entails and what sort of expectations need to exist. So let me start with you, Mr. Fareed, considering, of course, that there are a number of important developments that have taken place today, especially since we looked at the resignations coming in and the acceptance of 35 resignations at the National Assembly, and then, of course, the dissolution of the KP Assembly. What does this mean in terms of the way moving forward? We're going to be taking a look at what is going to happen at the center, and what of these statements that have been coming in, considering that we earlier did not see any major acceptance coming in from the National Assembly, but now of course, a large number of resignations have been accepted. But before you answer, let me also quickly welcome in the show Rana Maqbool Ahmad, Senator PMLN, who's also joined us online. Thank you very much, Rana Saab, for being a part of the show. Yes, Mr. Fareed.
Thank you, Sana. I hope so. The PTI must be surprised, and they wouldn't be thinking about this acceptance of the resignations in the National Assembly, the 35 members of, of the resignation. I think so. PTI should not be worried about it because, as far as you discussed in your introduction about the dissolution of the Punjab Assembly, afterwards the CM KPK has also sent the summary to the Governor KPK for the dissolution of the KPK Assembly also. So at this moment, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is looking and eyeing for an early election, and they believe that an early election is the only solution to save the economy, to save the country, and to get out of this current the challenges Pakistan is facing towards this time. I think so. Wouldn't have been played any significant role if Imran Khan decided to return to the assemblies at this moment. And earlier, later this evening today, there was a parliamentary meeting between parliamentary meeting of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf in the leadership of Imran Khan. And at this moment, there was a news coming up that the parliamentary committee had given all the mandate to Imran Khan whether to return to these assemblies or not. But there is always a U-turn we have seen in the instance of PTI. In the past they made a narrative about when in the April when the government was sent by a vote of no confidence, and for till that time until now they always were of this opinion that there was a conspiracy against the government and they will not return to the assemblies, and they will not, and if they return to the assemblies, first it is not possible, and if they return to the assembly, then it will back up the narrative that okay, they will support this conspiracy of sending their own government. But now I think so with their 11 members resignations earlier accepted, and now these 35 members, if the total number, if you count over there, and if they are eyeing for a vote of no confidence against the PM Shehbaz Sharif, I think so PTI would not have been able to get any kind of success over there, or they could able to fulfill the numbers over there. But yes, they, after the getting the vote of confidence in the Punjab Assembly, PTI must be confident enough to get to increase some kind of a pressure on the federal government for an early election. But as you said earlier about that, yes, the early elections or the elections date which the Imran Khan is eyeing on, it is not possible unless and until Imran Khan and the government sit together, as we have seen that the Interior Minister Rana Maqbool yesterday said that yes, okay, we will welcome PTI in the assemblies, but if they come up with some positive things, or if they come up with the caretaker, want to talk on the caretaker setup, but other than that there will be no talk. So I think so over there that PTI all these kind of moves, because as Maulana Fazlur Rahman has also said that there will be no elections in the Punjab Assembly, there will be no elections in the KP Assembly. But you know, all the things, if there will be no elections in the Punjab, if there will no elections in the KPK Assembly, if the resignations of the PTI members of the National Assembly have been accepted, counting the numbers to overall 35 now and 11 before it counting to 46 over there. So there are the number of seats which are vacant over there. So if there are no early elections, that there is a big question mark over there, that how the state of the affairs are being run and what will be the future of that thing, as Pakistan is also negotiating with the IMF also. So if there is some kind of plan, or if the government want to make the things better over there, so there is only a chance which I see over there, that there must be a talk between both the PDM and the PTI to get hold of some kind of a middle solution in between to get hold of the elections.
All right, let's see if that is even a possibility right now for the political setup. Rana Sahab, of course, there was conversation earlier as well with regards to the fact that the PDM will not be considering any form of early elections prior to the PTI coming to the negotiating table, whether or not the return to the NA, if the PTI does make that move, changes any of that. And then also, of course, the Interior Minister has pointed out towards the fact that there will be no conversation to the current tenure, but then again we see statements coming in from the JUIF chief saying that there are no elections that are going to be held in Punjab and KP. What is that about? Could you explain the current way forward for the current political setup as to what they're seeing both in KP and Punjab, and then at the center as well?
And Rana Sahab, could you also explain the reason behind today's move?
Thank you very much. My salam to all honorable participants. Actually, this total jugglery is the product of abnormal behavior of Mr. Imran Khan. You might remember once he announced an attack on Islamabad back on 25th of May. There was a situation and the government had decided to dissolve the assemblies and go for the elections. but he threatened that I'm coming and I'll snatch the time and the date from the government and I'll topple the government for the sake of general elections. Everything he does in a very aggressive and a very revengeful and a very clumsy manner. So that is the problem with him. And if one single individual is playing with the fate of the country, look at his supporters and his disciples and his MNAs and his outside. Once they get out of the meeting, they crib and they always say that this is not on, this is not proper. But I don't know why they are so much scared. I was listening to a very senior journalist a few minutes before from KPK. He was commenting on today's meeting and today's move for dissolution of KPK Assembly and the reaction and response of the MPs of KPK. Almost 99% were in disagreement with this move. So this move is landing Imran Khan in trouble. He is not going to gain anything out of it except for confusion, confounded chaos, and that too chaotic conditions for the country. This is what he is doing due to his absolutely indiscreet behavior. No, but an issue about the elections. It's a constitutional provision. The assemblies are dissolved both in Punjab and in KPK. Elections will be held after 3 months. I don't think so. Until unless there is some abnormal, historically abnormal situation, and legally it's not, and constitutionally it's not possible. So that can be reconsidered about the postponement of elections. But in the given situation, elections will be held. But look at the pity of those people who will be contesting the election. For example, 35 people have been removed from the list of MNAs and 11 previously. There is the 35 constituencies will go for elections within 2 months. If they go for election within 2 months, and afterwards, after 6 months or 7 months, there'll be again elections. Can the representatives or the people afford this luxury of going to elections time and again? So this is a very difficult situation. Imran Khan has brought for own people and own supporters. So I don't think there is any wisdom or any
Right.
sagacity behind this policy, except for
More
totally
confrontation.
yes, fragmented
Right.
mind
Rana Sahab,
without any
I'm
cohesion.
glad that you're critical of the possibility of a by-election in 35 constituencies. Could you explain why? Because Speaker also belongs to your ruling coalition. Why did he decide to accept only 35, and why now?
And Rana Sahab, considering the accusations that, of course, the PTI leaders have been leveling, is the fact that this is to do with the move that the PTI initially wanted to do with regards to the ouster of the Prime Minister. But do these numbers even significantly impact that? And of course, does it even hamper the fact that the PTI chairman can still not opt for leader of the opposition in the National Assembly?
I've already commented on the conduct of their leader. He is creating situations for his own men as well, for his own supporters, for his own MNS. Look at his behavior even before
No,
moving an
Rana Sahab,
inch
my
for the
question is with
National Assembly.
regards to the acceptance of the 34 resignations. Okay,
I'm answering the same question.
okay.
That before even moving an inch, he threatened the federal government that he'll come and he'll come like a hurricane and he'll topple everything. So the government and the party, they are by all means justified raising some defense. It was a defense raised by the government and by the speaker to curtail their numbers in the National Assembly for all practical purposes. Because he was up to creating this commotion in the National Assembly as well. He doesn't realize the critical conditions of the country. I don't know from where has he learned that election is the panacea for everything, and that too under this situation. When the country is in a bad shape as far as the economy is concerned and law and order is concerned, there is an onslaught of terrorism in his own province. Look at what he has done with his own province where he is ruling for the last 13 years. Look at the poverty, joblessness, law and order, total disorder, lack of security. What has he done? What has he contributed? Except for creating confusion and creating chaos. This is the main reason why these people have been relieved and their resignations have been accepted, because there was an assessment that his electoral power in the
Right,
National
but
Assembly
Rana
should
Sahab,
be
that doesn't
reduced.
answer the question that why this happened now and why these 34 members and why not all of the resignations altogether, and what is the change in terms
Yes,
of the stance given by the
I answer
Speaker
this question, Sima.
of individual
People,
lawmakers coming to him? Okay.
government waited for them, as we have been discussing, that there was a passion for understanding, for amity, sitting on the parlous table. That was the desire of the government. It was not only the desire of the government. This is what the president also wanted. The Honorable Chief Justice and Supreme Court bench also asked PTI to get back to the National Assembly, sit there, discuss issues, and resolve issues. But man is so adamant and so unyielding that he didn't listen to anything. He wants to do everything by beating his opponents, which I think he will not succeed. In the process, he is damaging his own position and damaging the position of the country. So that is the reason. That is the reason this step has been taken.
All
Frankly,
right.
there is no yes, there
Okay,
is no
Nana Sahab,
hesitation in it.
I'll come back to you. Farooq, considering, of course, that when we take a look at the situation, there was also a statement coming in from PTI leader Fawad Chaudhry, who spoke about how perhaps that after KP and Punjab, they're now going to move to the center. But help me understand how this is sequential in terms of the way that it is being stated. Is that even something that was in line with PTI's original move, considering that the dissolution, of course, was there for early elections to be held, and of course in the National Assembly as well, and so their return perhaps seems contradictory. And secondly, whether or not, of course, there's much that PTI hasn't had to back in terms of their claims, many that have been made in the past, but there was, of course, a surprising move in the sense that they actually went with the dissolution in Punjab and KP. Is something such as the return at the center in the NA also a possibility?
Right, Sana. Of course, to answer your question shortly, very quickly, is that yes, it is a U-turn that PTI actually kept on talking about yesterday, day before yesterday, and I don't think it amounts to much. But with your permission, I want to actually first pay homage to Pakistani media. Our media has knows the art of hitting the target without, while missing the point. Since this decision came in, I've been listening to the truckload of pundits that dominate television channels, and I haven't seen anybody actually consulting the original source, the decision maker, before actually coming up with their own analyses. So that was fun, and that was also funny in a sad, tragic kind of way. I think that one thing is very clear. PTI has been demanding that their resignations be accepted. And the Speaker National Assembly has been saying that only when I am sure that you can, those individual people want to do it, he will accept it. Now, what is the fun part of this? These 35 people who have been unseated are the people who have gone on record, on television, in one program or another, or they have spoken at public rallies saying that their resignations are original. So it was a very comfortable choice to make. Media is so fascinatingly, skewed in Pakistan that only a few days ago, when PTI actually pulled a surprise in Punjab and it managed to actually dissolve the assembly, there was a endless oohs and ahs on television. Look, PTI has done everything. What a maestro they are. And now, when the ruling coalition does the same thing, they are indicting it. They are complaining about it, right? So this is an amazing, turn of affairs. But my humble submission is that naturally, the original impulse came from one fact. Today, 35 people's resignation was accepted, but not Imran Khan Saab's. The message is very clear that trying to run or sabotage the National Assembly through remote control will not work. All the people that you trust, They are on public record, and that's why their resignations have been accepted. If there is going to be any opposition leader, it is either you or then Raja Riaz. So this is the simple fact that has materialized, and I think that there is no harm in this either. There is going to be an election in 2 months, and we will be able to see how popular PTI is now in Punjab, in Islamabad, in Karachi, elsewhere. So more elections, not less, right? Regarding what PTI has done to its own, ruled governments, I think at this moment, while our media will keep on framing this narrative as masterstroke or some kind of strategy, to me, there is a party that has thrown away incredible advantages it had. First, it walked out of the assembly and resigned twice, thrice, and their own deputy speaker actually accepted all their resignations at that time en masse, right? According to their narrative curve or their narrative arc, that has been done already. But after that, they have thrown away the keys to the most populous province where you could have really, really made a difference. Chaudhry Parvez Elahi knows his work cut out, right? And he could have done enough development in the province, most populous province in the country, to have an impact in the next election. They have thrown it away. And now Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, their final fortress, is gone as well. So I don't see any masterstroke. All I see is this scurrying, which is a product of realizing that they had a gamble, and they actually gambled big at the time of appointment of army chief, and then they lost. And when they lost, they have been actually using their media goodwill to keep on framing the narrative as if they are still the ascendant party. The reality lies in what happened in Karachi.
Right.
They lost.
Right. Mr. Fareed, considering what Farokh has been saying regarding the resignations and the appearances on TV, something that was echoed by the Interior Minister as well as the reasoning perhaps behind these acceptances. But when we take a look at the situation, do you possibly see any more acceptance of more resignations coming in anytime soon? And secondly, if there is a return to the National Assembly by the PTI, and there's of course a lot of talk with regards to the PTI mulling over legal possibilities of preventing the PTI turn course from voting in favor of the PDM, what sort of possibilities exist for the PTI to actually be able to prevent that? How will that be possible?
Actually, let me allow to continue a few words, to say a few words, as Farokh already said about the Karachi. I wish to comment over this bit. As the PTI is stressing upon the early elections, but as we see in the Karachi, actually, they accepted that, as Imran Khan said, that okay, our preparations were not well enough over there. As they already said that yes, we had a popularity on the social media, but we didn't. We failed to prepare ourselves. And what happened in Karachi? Actually, they must learn a lesson from there. Over. Okay, do they have? Because there are some questions as a journalist which arise in my mind. Do they have some kind of a strategy? What they want to do? What they are thinking to do? Do they have any economic team? As they claim about it, that it doesn't make any difference whether the current government completes its tenure till August, whether the elections would be held in October. Okay, it will ruin, it will further dent the state. But they want to save the state, they want to save the economy, they want to save the people of Pakistan. But the biggest question over here, do they have any kind of a strategy? Because coming into the National Assembly, and if they want to seek a confidence vote from the Prime Minister, I think so. This move, the acceptance of these resignations today, as earlier stated by the Speaker, that he will not accept the resignations in bulk. You must remember that a delegation which was headed by the former Speaker National Assembly, Asad Kaisar, and they went to meet the Speaker National Assembly over there, and they requested to accept the resignations in the form of the group. But at that time, the Speaker National Assembly, Raja Parvez, as you have stated, that he will going to listen to every individual, and afterwards he will decide on individual basis that either to accept the resignations or not. So at this moment, the PTI must understand that a quick response has been given. a quick stroke has been played by the government by accepting these 34 resignations and one resignation of Sheikh Rashid Ahmad. So they must understand that if they are planning to move towards the center, as Imran Khan said that after Punjab he'll come to Islamabad, the federal government, and then he'll go to the center. But he must remember that the results of the local body elections in the Sindh and especially in Karachi, PTI is standing nowhere. The mandate which the PTI got in 2018, they must understand that now they have to struggle on their own. They have to struggle on their own will, their own support, and there is nothing and no other powers they are there who can support the PTI. So at this moment, as to answer to your question over here, that Imran Khan must understand this, that by making all these kind of moves, it will just put the country in an anarchy. We must understand the economic challenges today. As of today, as we've seen that the stock market had a very deep dip today. The IMF, the dealings with the IMF, it has been delayed. So at this moment, if this political turmoil will be there, as Imran Khan is knocking at every door and making some kind of the political instability over there, if this kind of a political stability will remain, I fear that the elections would be going to be held in 2023 over there, because if this kind of situation would be there, there is a provision in the constitution also to extend the government over there. But let's see, I don't think so. I'm not a policy maker or the part of the government, but this kind of political stability will not be very good for Pakistan.
All right, let's ask Rana Saab these questions. Yes, Rana Saab, I'm coming to you, but let me add to this two things that Mr. Fareed was referring to. One, that this was a great stroke by the government, the acceptance of resignations, whether you agree with that or not, and secondly, that the elections would not be held in 2023. Is that something that you agree with? But also add to that, Rana Saab, the question that I wanted to come to you with was with regards to what is being spoken about a lot also is the merger between PTI and PMLQ as well, which of course still remains to be seen, but there's a lot of talk as to whether or not this is something that is going to happen. How exactly would you see this development and how it would impact your politics, especially in the future in Punjab?
Thank you, Sna. The situation is undergoing drastic changes every time, every day, hour to hour. I may also submit that Imran Khan is not an MNA nowadays. He was disqualified by the Election Commission. So he has not taken oath and he cannot, because by inference, his disqualification that happened after he was elected in those constituencies. So he'll have to wait to be eligible for next general elections. That's the judgment of the Election Commission, and that order has not been set aside. So I submitted because Mr. Patafi said that he has not been, his resignation has not been accepted. So there is no question of resignation also, because he is no more an MNA, he is a disqualified MNA. So what about this Chaudhary Pervez Alai? Pervez Alai is in the devil and the deep sea, between the devil and the deep sea. First of all, he was jumping over to PTI. Now there is a notice for dismissal from the president of the party. And he's also feeling that Imran Khan is goofing up things. So his craft, even craft of Pervez Alai has failed vis-a-vis Imran Khan, because he couldn't stand the pressure and the suicidal things Imran Khan is now carrying on. That will be harming everybody, his party and his peers. Now, there is a question of elections. I personally think there could be circumstances, but elections should be held in time. And Fareed Saab very happily said it's a master stroke or a very competent stroke, and they have shot in the bullseye. I don't think that it's a stroke. It's unfortunate on the part of the parliamentary leaders and the Democrats. They should collectively and individually behave like Democrats. They should not try to bulldoze everything against each other. They're harming the country. They were given opportunity time and again to rule in a sensible manner, but they have not been able to do this. And it's therefore the other stakeholder, they come in and they jump in, and things get furthermore spoiled. It's unfortunate, and there has to be some sense of responsibility. I think we are losing a lot in this confusion. As a country, it's such a infatuating country, and we're not being very, very honest and very discreet to this country. The politicians should realize, no, the ball is in their court. Imran Khan and other ones. As far as my party is concerned, they are on the receiving ends. All filthy abuses or all derogatory remarks and every type of attack they have been facing from day one. So I think we change our behavior, we change our diction, we change our policy, we change our vision in the interest of the country. That's the answer to the question.
Right, absolutely, and of course that should happen. Of course, Farooq, in all of this, of course, there's also the role that the president has to play or is expected to play. And of course, I understand the position of the president, but there's also some sort of party affiliation. There's been some meetings in the past that have been held with the PTI chairman as well. How is his role looked at by different political parties and perceived in terms of his objectivity and in terms of how the situation is now unfolding or is expected to unfold at the center in the National Assembly, with him asking the PM to get a trust vote?
Right, Sana. Let me first thank Rana Sahab for correcting me. It slipped my mind that Imran Khan Sahab is, there is this suspension. Although I don't see that that is a final, something set in stone. It can be cancelled, and Imran Khan Sahab is already returned from seven constituencies as well. Till the time, of course, he doesn't take oath, it is going to complicate the matters. But regarding president's role, I think at this moment, the only party that seems to be politicizing his role is PTI. That is not all. Pakistani pundits or Pakistani media also do the similar kind of thing. President is the head of state. He can, of course, meet, any politician he wants. And of course, the prime minister, former prime minister, he once belonged to that party. So if he meets him, that's okay. But remember those days when in Punjab there was talk of governor actually asking a vote of confidence or demanding a vote of confidence. At that time, we kept on hearing PTI people telling us that the president might actually sack the governor and replace him with somebody else. Did that happen? It did not. Similarly, there are other, positions regarding vote of confidence as well. President's office is supposed to be above all this. So he is going to, and I understand that governor's office should have been in the similar way. It wasn't at that time. But president's office is above this. And if he wants to demand a vote of confidence, he will do it based on some kind of shifting realities, right? There was a possibility that MQM could have actually, separated their ways. Had that been done, the number game would have been before our eyes, and somebody could have theoretically said that the government, because PTI is still part of the parliament, their resignations have not been accepted, then you can come back and you can rule, right? Or you can prove your majority. That did not happen. Regarding what Rana Sahab was earlier saying about this not being a master stroke and this being, something that might embarrass the parliament, look, my concern is simple. I have seen remarkable kind of politics that went on since April. It was, politics on steroids. It was on acid. And, when does it happen that you are asked to take a vote of confidence and you dissolve the assembly, right? When does it happen that, chief minister is being voted out from Punjab, and at that time you actually physically try to stop that? That was happening when Buzdar Sahab was there. While Rana Saab is very conscientious and I respect that, my only humble submission is that this is realpolitik. And in realpolitik, if one side is going to play not according to the book, other side can actually play by the book and get a point, it will score a point, right?
Right.
Just regarding my media peers, what is that Urdu saying, jo chahe aapka husne karishma saaz kare, right? You want to make one side total evil, you want to make the other side total hero, that is your choice. But there are no heroes, there are no villains, there are no angels, there are no demons. This is merely politics.
Right, and of course, we hope that this is something that is also present in the minds of political decision makers as well, and they're able to see the sense of that. Thank you very much, Rana Saab, for joining us and being a part of the discussion. Please have you with us in the next segment as well. We'll take a short break and continue the discussion on what is going on at the economic front and hopefully a possible discounted deal from Russia.
Join us to see how regional connectivity is shaping the future. Perspectives and much more on our new show, Game Changer. What shapes the world today?
Is that politics,
Or mutual interest?
nations or the regions?
Game Changer will explore the potential.
Prosperity, sustainability, socio-economic development and global connectivity.
Be with us.
And witness how the game changes.
Welcome back to the debate. We're now going to be talking about the high-level 80-member Russian delegation that has reached Islamabad, and it is going to attend the 8th session of the Intergovernmental Commission on Trade and Cooperation that is scheduled to take place from the 18th to the 20th of January. But of course, the important aspect of the visit is also with regards to the bilateral talks on oil and LNG, and of course, the flagship $3 billion Pakistan Stream gas pipeline project, which of course is something that we have much expectations from. There is, of course, the economic challenges that exist in terms of our energy sector, and the discounted petroleum products coming in from Russia will contribute a lot and will save Pakistan about $2 billion annually. And so this is going to be important in terms of where we are standing today and how we want to proceed, especially in terms of the energy sector in the future. Much, of course, that has been done from the political setup as well with regards to energy conservation and ways in which Pakistan can improve its current economic conditions. Mr. Farid, considering, of course, that this is something that we have been hearing, especially coming in from the ministry as well, this emphasis on the fact that we want to get a discounted deal from Russia, and the earlier visit that happened to Russia was pointing towards perhaps some sort of success in that, and now, of course, the kind of follow-ups that we see, we might be able to get a deal that is beneficial for Pakistan, but there's still question mark in terms of how exactly we're going to proceed, how much of a discount is there, and how soon can we get that. Currently, of course, we're facing the shortage of supply, and then in the future as well, in the remaining fiscal year, as you pointed out before, also that the IMF talks are still remaining, that economic challenges still remain, and our energy sector is one that we really need to focus on. How do you look at the development, especially in terms of this particular visit, as to how it will contribute towards finalizing and solidifying a deal that we really need?
Sana, it was a long-awaited thing, as you discussed about and as you said about, that Pakistan is facing the economic situation. At this moment, our economy are depleting the foreign reserves we have. and more specifically the gas reserves which we have, which are declining by 10% annually. We are very in need, and we desperately need these kind of energy backups. And what you said, that this high level delegation is in Pakistan now. I think so. At this moment, the government it should focus upon on making the deal, and it totally depends upon the discount which Pakistan will get. As you mentioned, that Pakistan will save around $2 billion. It totally depends upon
The
how
percentage,
much percentage of the discount Pakistan will get in this energy, this LNG, this oil. As the previous PTI government also claimed about having a deal with the Russia, but at that time, as the reports and all the things are in front of us, that at that time there was no particular deal and there was no particular understanding between the two countries. Yes, it might be there must be some kind of coining up and some kind of a thought process behind fulfilling the energy needs of Pakistan. But right now, the visiting of this high-level delegate from the Russia over there, it makes the sense that right now the government will try its level best to make some kind of things with this delegate. And I think so at this moment it is very badly needed for Pakistan that it should sign a deal which is not only beneficial for the country, but also for the energy resources which are being consumed by the industries, by the people. Because as we all see over here, the government had to increase the gas prices. The government is compelled to increase the gas prices, and it will be done gradually by not putting further burden on the people over here. And also we have seen the gas load sheddings over in different cities of Pakistan. So it is only because Pakistan is losing its reserves. It badly needs the energy reserves in Pakistan over here, and this kind of a deal will help out the people of Pakistan by combating this.
Right. Farooq, what sort of factors do you think are impacting this particular deal at the moment, especially or at a global scale also, and in particular focus with the way that Pakistan's economic challenges exist today, especially when we take a look at how the 9th review is still pending, how there is, of course, global economic concerns, global fuel supply concerns, there's, of course, the conflict in Ukraine, and then there is, of course, the issue whether or not we're going to be able to secure a deal without the IMF's green light as well. Is this something that we're factoring in the way that we're looking at these discussions?
Right, Sana, I think that there are two ways to look at this situation, right? One is system level analysis, that is international system and whatever is happening in Ukraine. Because of that, there are many dynamics, and of course there is a divide on that matter all over the world, and you know on which side of the divide I belong. But then I'm also the same person who has been since mid-90s writing in papers constantly that Pakistan should go to Russia and we should build robust bilateral relations, right? It was unfortunate that in the Cold War we were juxtaposed against each other. So it is great if we can actually put that aside and actually build on bilateral relations, which are good, because you know Russia has a lot of influence also in Central Asia, which is cradle of our civilization, Pakistani civilization. So there has been back and forth for quite some time. We saw that there was a deadlock because of various circumstances, perhaps because of previous Afghan government, then of course Russia's own issues, and then of course naturally India's veto on these matters as well. But Pakistan has weathered that all. Now, let me remind you how rewarding this relationship is for Pakistan at this moment. The second way to look at it is bilateral, right? Recently, if you remember, there was flour crisis in this country. There was wheat crisis in this country. At that time, of course, there was strategic reserves by the provinces which were released. That's why it was brought down. But that was also the time when 2 shipments of wheat arrived from Russia. At this moment, because Russia is one of the most sanctioned countries, its product comes cheap. And then they are the same people, when India and Pakistan were having these hostilities, when India said that it had carried out a surgical strike and there was a possibility of a follow-up attack, At that time, Russia's military delegation was coming to Pakistan. They did not stop. They came over. So the bilateral relationship is very rewarding. And at this moment when, Pakistan, the situation is such that because of this Ukraine war, Europe's need for gas and oil has increased because they are not getting it from Russia. Now what happens is that we usually go to the market and we go to Qatar, other countries to get it. And they say that it is already sold out because Europeans are paying very, high major buck for this, right? So that is a circumstance made in heaven for Pakistan and Russia. Russia is ready to sell its product, its gas, and Pakistan badly needs it. So in that situation, it is very opportune. And there were concerns that America is perhaps going to veto or Europe is going to veto. But then we heard the State Department saying that whosoever wants to get a fair deal from Russia, they are open to.
Right.
And because Russia has another bottleneck, that is that they are going to deal only in ruble or certain currencies that include China's yuan. And we are also in agreement with China regarding yuan's use.
Right.
We can procure it, and this is good news. Let us hope in coming days we build the bilateral relations that goes beyond the Ukraine, crisis, and which is more rewarding to both sides.
Absolutely, and that of course is the hope. Thank you, Farrukh, and thank you, Mr. Fareed Rais, for joining us and being a part of the discussion. There is much hope coming in, of course, from this particular delegation's visit, and we hope that we get to see it result in tangible points for the people as well and for the energy sector. That's all that we have from the debate. We'll see you tomorrow.